Hello, hello. I think we're live. It says we're connected to the chat. I got 2 viewers watching, and I think we're running. So, welcome to part 2 of my Yankee rebuild slash refurbishment. Well, it's a kind of a refurb, but it's also a retrofit because I did some repairs. So I decided, well, let's go ahead and do some modifications while we're at it. Hey, Chuck. So I got some kind of big plans for this little rocket. What started out as a small project has really snowballed into something much bigger. But because I'm using the rocket as a test bed anyway, I decided, well, let me test some other things on it. So in future builds, we can possibly add to and modify those kits as well. So let's see if anyone else jumps in. That's interesting, Chuck. Your chat on my laptop says that your chat came in at 5:56. Yet I hit go live at exactly 6 o'clock on my computer. So did I come on right at 6, or did I come on like 5 minutes early? Could you tell more or less when I might have actually gone live? According to my laptop, I was right at 6. And I can't see the timer on my phone, the clock on my phone. Oh, I was early. Okay. Hey, Aaron. Okay, so Aaron, is this Aaron or is this Jess? Because last time it was Jess, and I kept calling her Aaron. It said, okay. All right. You know what? I'm looking across the room, and my other clock says 5:58. So yeah, I guess I did come on a little early. But hey, better early than late, right? Aaron. All right. Ron. That's what we'll call him. We're a package deal, that's right. You buy one, you get the other one for free. Although I think I told Jess last time, I said, Jess, I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to Aaron. But when you got married, you became one anyway, so it's you know, it doesn't matter who I'm talking to because I'm talking to both. Hey, Donald. I'm sorry, Don. I gotta learn to say Don better. Don's in the house, and I'm thinking Joe may show up as well. So I'm hoping Joe shows up. But no, it'll be good to have you guys in here as well to offer. Hey, there he is. Good to see you, Joe. If you see me about to do something horribly wrong, please stop me. Say, time out, stop, rethink this before you start chopping and cutting into the body. So yeah, get ready to I know you guys are going to have fun with it, and I want you to. But at the same time, I seriously do want you guys to give me any ideas, comments, feedback. But I decided, since I was going to modify this rocket to take on the engine hook, because I wanted, use this as a test bed, and I got to get this thing to 2,000 feet, I thought, you know what, since I'm already modifying it, let's just go ahead and modify it some more. That way, if it proves itself, then I'll know that I could implement it on future kits. Now, I know that the hook's going to work because Joe's already proven that to be true. Hey, Puny. But, yeah, I think he meant critique, not critique. I want to install, an engine baffle. You guys can... if you're so inclined, you can find these on Rocketarium's website. They're only like $2 or $3. Hey, crossover, for the BT20. This is like $2 or $3, and it's pretty much just a 3D printed plastic baffle with some cardboard rings at the fore and aft end with a hook. Nothing to do. This is exactly how it came out of the package. So I didn't even have to screw the eyelid in. It came pre-inserted. So pretty straightforward. It is a little bit different in that I'm going to have to cut the body open to install this, because I want to install it. Here's kind of what I'm thinking. With the engine at this point, I want to leave a little bit of space. I don't want this butted up against the engine. So I want to leave a little bit of space, maybe 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, which is going to put the baffle with the hook right at the top here of the intersection of the blue and the white. Typing is terrible. Well, Don, I'm really I'm really impressed with baffles. So far I've got perfect success with them. So that being said, what happens when you put a baffle in a rocket? You are eliminating this much body tube space, right? So now I've got this much less space to pack my parachute and an altimeter. Now you can say, okay, well, let's get rid of one of them. Well, you can't get rid of the parachute, so you're going to have to eliminate the altimeter, right? Well, you know me, it aches and pains me to fly without an altimeter. So what I've decided to do was, for the BT-20 rockets that I fly, if I want to fly an altimeter, I will use a universal payload bay. So I built this payload bay. I've already built it. It's just, let me take the nose cone off. So in storage, you can just use the nose cone on the rockets. But if you want to fly the altimeter, then you just insert the bay here. And just to show you, for size purposes, I've already got my little altimeter in there. And it'll hold up well, and it'll fit. And I've already pre-drilled. Actually, I should say I pre-poked the holes. I used the hole puncher that Joe turned me onto. So I've already got the holes pre-punched. I went with white because that's a pretty universal color. And whatever rocket I use this on, the white would probably. I don't want to put blue on it and then it have be a completely different color rocket. So I thought white was universal enough. So okay, so you're thinking, okay, how's that going to attach? Well, when this is in, the altimeter will still connect to the nose cone. And I will run some clear tape around that joint just to keep it on in flight. You don't really want to lose this at ejection because it's going to take the altimeter with it. Actually, I may consider not even attaching the altimeter to this. That's a possibility. Okay, so the next thing is, well, how does this attach to the rocket? Well, I've already built a coupler out of an engine spacer, and I've got some glue in there. It's still drying. I did a few things before I went live, but I did build a coupler already that's going to glue up into here. Of course, you can't go too far because I don't want to block the holes, but it's going to go the same length as the nose cone is. So, I don't know, what is that? Half inch, 5/8, something like that. So that's going to be where that glues in. And then this will then clip to my shock cord and go into the body tube. So when the motor ejects, it'll pass through the baffle, obviously. MH says, you can connect the payload bay to the altimeter and the nose cone. So if the nose cone pops off, everything is attached, so nothing is loose. So in order to do that, MH, and by the way, MH, I don't recognize you. If you're new, I appreciate you jumping in. How would I attach this? Would I... I don't know. I guess I'd have to drill a hole maybe and run a tether. Not sure. Okay. Well, I'll get to that. That is a good idea. That's not a bad idea at all. Okay, so the other thing is, this is part of the repair process, because if you remember, I did scrunch up the nose and it was decent. I'm thinking, well, I want to replace this whole blue part. Hey, Biggie. You could run a Kevlar line and permanently attach it to the bottom of the payload bay. I could. You know what? You got me thinking, MH. If I drilled a hole, like a 1/16 of an inch hole here, I could tie the Kevlar to that eyelet. Yeah, tie the Kevlar to the eyelet. It passes through, comes out, and then I could attach the altimeter. All right, everybody, give a thumbs up to MH. I'm serious. Put a thumbs up if you can. MH, thank you. And I think I'm going to drill a 1/16 hole, run the Kevlar, and then tie it here at the eyelet, and then it'll come out and link to the altimeter. If I got that right, give me a thumbs up, everyone. Say thank you to MH. Awesome, thank you. Cool. All right. So, next question is, how am I going to get the baffle in here? Well, part of my plan was, well, because this is damaged anyway, I've already built up a new body tube. And yes, it's a different blue, and I didn't know it was a different blue till after I sprayed it, and I thought, well, you know, I kind of like it anyway, so I had to respray the nose cone to match it. So that's why it's a different color blue, but I kind of like it that way. So I'm going to cut the body tube right at the joint here, the seam of the blue and the white. So this whole front blue part's going to be discarded. This blue part's going to glue in. And I've already glued in 1/2 of the coupler. So this is ready to glue in once we get the baffle glued in. But it's going to be a lot easier to glue the baffle in with this portion removed. So, ppm. Oh, yeah, puny. Okay, I'm just trying to get the acronyms down here. So I'm trying to keep up with the chat. I don't think I've missed too much here. Y'all were saying hello earlier. The other thing I'm going to have to do is create, and I've got some new Kevlar here. I'm going to have to, I don't think I'll be able to reuse the Kevlar that I've already got. Why not lengthen it a bit? Lengthen what, Don? As long as you replace all the blue, it works. Yeah, everything blue is going to be this new piece here. I've already cut it to the same length as the existing. So in stock form, it's going to be identical. Now, when I add the payload bay, that's going to be the additional section. So, and it never hurts to add more nose weight. That's one thing I've learned. So, the whole body, well, because I want to keep as much originality to this as possible. I mean, I've already gone through the effort of, you know, doing the engine hook, and I just, for bragging rights, I want to be able to say that my original Yankee flew to 2,000 feet. That's really the only reason. I mean, in future builds, when I build up more rockets, obviously I'll implement all this from the get-go. But I just want to make a project out of retrofitting this to do what I want it to do. Okay, fair enough, he says. All right, so now the hard part, guys. Well, before we start cutting, I do want to remove the decals because I'm going to try to salvage them. And I've already done this once before when I replaced the front tube. And I didn't put any clear coat over it, so I should be able to peel this off. And I've already got a piece of wax paper laying there. Once I get these decals off, I'm going to stick them to the wax paper. Okay, that's one. The Yankee is a guinea pig. That's right. It's like your first child. A parent tries out everything on their first kid first. They learn how to be a good parent on the first one. So then when the next kids come along, then they're susceptible to the wrath. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to set those aside. We won't be using those until the end. In fact, I probably won't even show those on camera. Well, I may be able to stick them back on. We'll see. I knew Kevin was Yankee at heart. Yeah, even though I stem from the South. But we were joking about that earlier. That's funny. I usually put a shock cord in my payload bays in case the nose comes off. Okay. Okay. Well, like I said, MH had a good idea with routing a cord through this bulkhead here. So I am going to do that. So that's why I like these live streams. Okay, so now that I've got the stickers off, I need to cut. Now I'm going to use my tube cutter. Let me set this aside. But I can't get the tube cutter on because of that scrunchiness there at the front. So I'm going to need to cut that nose part off. In fact, I'm going to cut just below the holes because there's a ridge from my previous rebuild that's like right there. So I'm just going to make a rough cut around so I can slide this on. Then I'll make a clean cut there at the junction. So, okay guys, this hurts, but I got to do it. There's no going back now. Okay. You know what? Let me get this out of the way. I probably should have done that first. Let's feed this back down through the tube. There it goes. Pull it out. By the way, that's how, if you want to replace your elastic cord, you just route it out the bottom of the rocket, and then you can access the loop that's in the Kevlar and just cut the elastic and put a new piece on. So, but now that's up and out of the way. Now we can start doing our final cut. And by the way, Don, I loved your idea with the tape, and it does work. So I've implemented that on my little cutting guide here. You wrap the tape on it, it makes it a lot tighter, because out of the factory, these things are pretty loose. I'm hitting something. That might be an old... Do I have a coupler in there? No? Oh, I'm hitting the decals. That's what I'm doing. I'm hitting the decals. So you know what? Let me do this. I'm going to cut from this side. Let me put this up to the line. The only thing original is the fins. Well, again, I want to keep as much of this original as possible. So, okay, I'm showing just a little bit of blue there, which is good. I want to, actually no, I want to go to the white to make a nice clean seam line, and then I'm going to slide this on and lock it down. There we go. Now this guide ain't going anywhere. Now we got to make a very precise cut. So we're just going to run this along this guide here, all the way around. We're almost there. There we go. Okay. A little bit of... So this cardboard's pretty charred. Decals? What do you mean? These are decals right here. The red? Those are decals. I did not know that, Don. I'll have to try that next time. I've used these quite a few times, and I've only used the X-Actos. So I've never tried it with the straight edge. Oh man, that's tight. There we go. Okay. All right. Good to know. Okay, now I don't know if you guys have figured this out that have done this before, but I've had to clean out these tubes quite a bit, because if you put wood glue in here, it's going to actually ball up into like slime balls, but it does... Oh, I had a pile of stuff all over behind me. But if you put wood glue in and smear it around, it'll actually pull the carbon off the cardboard, and then just clean all that out, and then you'll have nice exposed cardboard. So I want to do that before I epoxy my baffle in. So let me get some wood glue. And now this does get messy. In fact, let me get my paper towels out. And I learned this by accident, because one time I tried to glue something into a dirty tube with wood glue, and all it did was just ball up on me and made a mess. And I'm like, well, that's not going to stick. But then I realized it was actually cleaning it out. Are we supposed to grade your cutting? I meant it's sticking on the decals. Well, is that straight enough? I don't know. It's not a clean cut. You know what? I have not changed the blade out in a while, and I like Donald's idea about using a straight edge. So no, that was not the most impressive display of cutting. But I'm just going to run some wood glue in here and smear it around. Again, this is going to get messy. But as I'm already feeling, see? Do you see this little ball? That's just the glue and the carbon. I don't know, coagulating, or I don't know what you'd say, but it's a messy job and it stinks to high heaven. But look at that. Look at all that muck that just came out. That's the carbon buildup. So it's cleaning off the cardboard. I don't know how far I can go. 7.0, yeah. And that's probably 7 out of 20, not even 7 out of 10. Again, I kind of I've written off the idea of this being a shelf queen or a trophy rocket. It's just now becoming a test bed of different ideas. See all that gunk that's coming out? That is the carbon. Now, I don't know if you can see the cardboard. It's a lot cleaner. We're down to the bare brown now. And again, I just found this out by accident when I was actually trying to glue something in. Let me put a little bit more down in there. Yeah, Don, it was an accident, but it works. I don't know if white glue works or just wood glue or, what other glues, but this just makes for a very clean job. So look at, I'm sorry I was off camera there, but just clumps of that stuff come out. I think I tried sandpaper once, and that it didn't work. But this, I guess you can see down the tube, but not sure how much of the cardboard you can see. But you can see what's coming out. That's the glue pulling the carbon off. So yeah, so I'm gonna let that kind of set up and dry for a bit. Let me go dispose of this mess. And I'm going to wash my fingers. A bottle brush. Yeah, I'm sure there's other ways of doing it. I found that out by accident, and I kind of liked it, so... So now we'll be able to get the baffle in, and like I said, the measurement, I think if we put it right where the hook is flush with the top there, we'll be good to go. Now I am going to have to cut the shock cord out. Let me do that now. I'm not sure how far down I can cut. Well, I'm just going to kind of try to use my knife as a saw. Because we're going to, as you know, we're going to attach a brand new shock cord to the front of the baffle. Well, that wasn't too hard. All right. Sure, the knife blade was good for cutting that, but it wasn't good for cutting the body tube. Okay, so that's not going to be enough. Well, actually, it might be. Let's see if I'm just going to do a rough test here. No, I haven't. It looks like it's going to be about an inch. MH. Real quick, let me go weigh this for you real quick before I make it too permanent. Let me weigh this. Okay, 8 grams. It weighs 8 grams on the scale. So yeah, let's measure again for MH. If I have the motor there at the hook, the motor's at the bottom of the hook there, and the baffle is flush there. Okay, we're looking at what? Right about 1/2 inch. Right about 1/2 inch. And I think we're going to be able to salvage this whole shock cord as is, actually. Let's see. Let me just do a rough. Is that wet and dry? Yeah, it's still a little damp. I'm going to wait. But if I put... That'll work. That's enough. And then what I'll do is I'm going to put some heat shrink on the Kevlar right where it meets the lips there, so it'll hopefully prevent any zippering. So yeah, I think we can leave all this as is. And one trick I'm going to do is I'm going to put some heat shrink on my knots. You guys have probably seen that in the past. When will this one be ready for space? It could fly in space. It really could. If Jeff Bezos was allowed to take this up and put it in a cargo bay of one of his Blue Origin rockets, then it would actually go into space. But on its own power, not likely. Okay, so if you guys have seen my previous videos, I do like to put heat shrink over my knots on my shock cords. Well, basically you can see one there. But let me cut a piece to go over the knot. And then I'm also going to put a piece over the whole eyelet assembly. To hopefully keep some heat off, because what happens is what I've noticed is wherever you're tying knots in your elastic or your Kevlar, that's stretching the fibers and the bands internally, and they're at their weakest at the knot because they're actually stretched to their limits. So just a little bit of heat can burn through it a lot easier than, say, an unstretched piece. When will it be ready to fly? Oh, MH, can you give it more than 1/2 inch? The more dead space you give it, the longer your baffle will last and more effective it'll be. The general rule of thumb for minimum amount of dead space is the width of the body tube it's being installed in. Try to get at least 1 inch. How long is the baffle? The baffle is... Where'd my little green guy go? I think it rolled off. I'll have to cut another one. Oh, no, it's over here. The baffle is 1 and, well, like 1 and 15/16, but you could almost say 2 inch. But technically 1 and 15/16. Okay, so let's see if I could, well, what's the width of the tube? 3/4 of an inch. So I'm looking at 1/2 inch. Could I move it up some? The only problem is now I'm running into an issue with my coupler, because my coupler is going to go down that low, which is 1/2 inch. So I could either cut off some of my coupler and bring the baffle up a little more. I'm not going to be able to get an inch out of this, guys. There's no way. Even if I glued it right at that point there, like flush with the edge, that's only 5/8. But see, now I've got no way to do my coupler on the inside. So, what to do? Let me measure that again. If the engine is at the hook there, and an inch up, let's go 3/4 inch. This is not easy to do with one hand, with 2 hands. Okay, so take some coupler off. I can almost do an inch there. I can almost do an inch and take my coupler down to about 1/4 inch. Okay, so I'm gonna use the base of the eyelet at the flush point of the tube. That's kind of my option then at this point. So let me go ahead and get the heat shrink on and get the shock cord ready. Cut off less of the tube. Yeah, I'm gonna cut some of that coupler off. You know what's awesome about this is Joe knows my goal is to get this rocket over 2,000 feet, but specifically my goal is to get it over 2,217 feet. And he knows why that's the magic number, because that is the record altitude at my launch site, and Joe is the current record holder. So I'm curious, does he really want me to succeed at this? Nah, I wouldn't think of him doing anything negative here. Okay. Guys, I'm going to run back behind me to my heat gun real quick, and I'm going to heat shrink this tubing down onto the knots. So just give me 1 second. You're going to hear some noise here when I turn on the gun. Un momento. Okay. What have I missed? Put a C motor on an old Astron Streak. Just ignore everything Don and MH say and you're gold. Well, that's not nice. I know you mean it in good fun. Because actually I was going to say I'm going to take everyone's advice but yours, Joe, because I think you're the one that would I don't know, suffer the most from a successful flight, because your record will be broken. So anyway, there we go. So I've got the heat shrink over the knot, and then I've got a heat shrink over the eyelet and the knot and all that. So this is pretty flame proof now. Okay, so back to the dilemma. I'm gonna cut my coupler down to 1/4 inch, and I'm gonna have the tube. I'm gonna put it right about there. Yeah, well, I'm going to do it on a D16, actually, Joe. That's my my motor of choice. Do I have to use a type of baffle? Well, it's all I have. Again, I mean, I've flown this a dozen times without a baffle at all, but I want to experiment with this baffle. I want to try this out and see how these baffles work. I've been pleased with Rocketarium's other baffles, although this is the only one they make I've seen that is 3D printed. So, I mean, for no other reason, I'm curious as to how well they work. That's why I want to implement a baffle. So, but I mean, no, there's no hard rule about any of this stuff being necessary. We just want to. I just want to. So, I think we're set. I'm going to go ahead and get the epoxy made up and glue this in so we can get this drying, so then I can cut the coupler down. I want to glue the coupler into the payload bay. I want to get that done. And I may run downstairs real quick and drill a quick hole in that bulkhead. Do I have a Comanche 3? Negative. I do not. All right. Why does that keep falling over? Okay. Let me get my epoxy equipment ready. Now this is 5 minutes, so I'm not going to have all the time in the world. I could use 30-minute, but then I'd have too much time. Who else makes them, MH? Ooh, wow, 3-stager. Wow. Well, I guess, yeah, if you start talking stages, Don, and we could hit those higher altitudes. Joe did it on a single stage, and I'm going to do it on a single stage. Down the road, yeah, if I run my Supernova, I could run a D in the upper, and that would definitely, I think, get me to that at least 2,000. Apogee makes a BT20 size? I guess I'm embarrassed to say I haven't seen it. I could have sworn I've looked, but if they've got one, then I missed it. You can also make your own using yellow motor spacer tool and a few pieces of cardboard and a toothpick. Fair enough. That I could see how that would work. Because I've used their other Rocketarium baffles, and I've built them up, and they're like I said, it's basically a tube with bulkheads on either end with holes on the bottom of one and then the holes on the top of the other. Yeah, I mean, you could. I guess it wouldn't be too hard to make one up. And yeah, I'm sure 8 grams is not. I mean, it's plastic, so it's got some weight to it. So in the future, MH, I may try that. Good thoughts. But at this point, I'm kind of committed to what I've got, and again, I want to test out this baffle. I mean, if I start getting burned shoots, then I'm going to tell everyone, say, hey, don't use these baffles; they're no good. But if you don't test them, then you'll never know. Okay, there you go. You and I are kind of thinking along the same wavelength there now, so cool. All right, let me mix up some epoxy, and we're gonna get that in. And again, I'm gonna route it to the base of the eyelet, or I guess the circle of the eyelet will be flush with the top. And I've got a little stick to run the epoxy down with as well. So I'm going to use Don's trick there. If you guys haven't seen Don's channel, Don Brent, he's logged in under Donald Brent, but his actual channel is Retro Rockets, and he does awesome tutorial builds. And I might have been the last one, was the X-ray build that you talked about. Whenever you mix epoxy, always pour the hardener first, because it takes a little while longer for it to spread out because it's thicker, and you can get a better 50-50 ratio, if that makes sense. See, so now it's already starting to kind of ooze down, spread out, whereas the resin, it flows a lot quicker. I thought that made perfect logical sense. Oh, you got a 2-stage now of the Viking? That was the funniest comment you made when you were out here launching, Joe. You made a prediction before launch of one of the rockets, and you said, but it is shareware, so that made me chuckle. But the funny thing is, the actual results, Joe, if I'm not mistaken, we exceeded what Open Rocket said, didn't we? Like, I think the Viking E was only supposed to go 1,500, and it hit 2,000. I think you had like 800, 700 or 800 on the E2X, and it went over 1,000. So I think Open Rocket was being a little too conservative. She did, just up in my one room here. Normally this would be done out in the garage, guys, but it is just too darn hot to go out there and try filming, and my phone would probably overheat anyway. So, okay, that is well mixed. Let me get a length on how far down I want this to be. So if I'm going to be at the base, I want the epoxy there. Okay. I want to push it down and then pull it up into a bead on this end. Well, that's feels like it's getting caught on something. There we go. Okay, so now it's flush at that end. Okay. So that's not going to give us a whole lot of space for the coupler, but we're doing the best. Now I'm just going to do a rough cut on the coupler, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit my cutting guide on it. Somebody told me a while back, you're really good at repairs. And I said, well, I don't know if that's a compliment, because repairs aren't the ideal way of, I want to be known as a good builder, not as a good repairer. Okay, that is all ugly, but I don't really care. I just need for it to lay in there. Let's see if I cut off enough. Yep. All right, that'll work. So OR was giving you not the best numbers there, huh? All right, so I'm gonna run some wood glue. Let's see, it's not the easiest space to get to. Let me get a popsicle stick and kind of work that around. Why did I not have a paper towel ready for me? Okay. There. My goodness. I think we're good, guys. Of course, with the little shortened coupler, I'm gonna have to kind of eyeball this. It's not gonna hold. I don't know if you guys can see down the length there. That looks pretty good there. Maybe a little bit of a yaw to the right. This is like putting on a lunch lug. After the live stream, get out your other Yankee kit and use that. Yeah, once again, this having already been built, and I think, Joe, you even alluded to it when you were doing your engine hooks. It's obviously harder to retrofit an existing kit with these types of modifications, just because it's already built. But next kit I build will be so much easier. So much easier. Okay. Airfoiling your fins will help your altitude. Yeah, they will. Obviously, you can tell I just left these squared off. If I remember, when I built this, I just wanted to keep it simple. Oh, in fact, you know what it was? These are monocoated. So, I don't know. It just seemed easier to me to do square corners with a monocoat. Because everything up to the blue is monocoat. The white's monocoat and the red fins are monocoat. The blue up front used to be monocoat, but now this here is paint. So that's the difference there. Let me eyeball this one more time. Looks like it's. There, I think we got it. Sorry, I'm eyeballing it to where my face is, but not to where your camera is, so you guys aren't seeing it the way I'm seeing it. There, I think we're good. Chris Howard, any advice for when your rocket accidentally nails the church next door? There's a Mormon church down the way from where I launched, but I've never even gotten close to it. Any advice for when your rocket... Oh, okay. I got it. Okay, inside joke. For those of you who don't know, Donald and Joe and Chuck and MH and everybody, Chris, other than Joe, actually, Chris is the only one that's ever flown rockets with me in the past. Growing up as kids on the school playground, there was a church next to the playground. I don't recall ever hitting the church, but I do remember knocking on people's doors in the neighborhood, asking to look in their backyards. So, how long is the original piece of body tube, and how long is the extension? So the original, I think it's 8.5, if I remember correctly, Joe. This is going to match exactly what it used to be. Yeah, 8.5, and that is the original length. And I made the extension piece 2.5, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 2.5 on the payload bay. So call it 11 inches in total. So while that's setting up, I'm gonna go ahead and glue this in. And I mean, I can still run the, yeah, because I still gotta let some of that glue dry before I drill the hole MH. So MH, probably tonight, later tonight or tomorrow, I'll go ahead and drill my hole for the Kevlar. But that was an outstanding idea. Thank you very much for that. So when I designed this, I had planned on, where'd I put my, oh, there it is, my nose cone. I want to measure the length, the same length as a shoulder of a nose cone, because that's how far down I want it to go into the body tube. Did I already make a mark? No, I didn't. Oh, you're doing OR stuff. Okay. So yeah, while I'm building, Joe's over there doing the technical side of things. That's awesome. Okay. Let me make just a little tick mark. Okay. So that's how far it needs to glue in. And that's going to bring me, yeah, just shy of those altimeter holes. So that's going to work out perfect. All right, I'm just going to put a thin bead of wood glue right in here. MH, I'm curious, what level of experience do you have with rockets? Are you level certified, or you just fly the LPR stuff, or what? Because you are being immensely helpful, and I do appreciate it. Okay. Oh, looks like I already did have a little tick mark. There we go. Well, I'll just kind of, there we go. Okay, I can see the holes are still clear, so we haven't gone. I'm a bar and just fly LPR stuff. Well, I'm a bar as well, and I fly mainly LPR. I do have my level 1, but I'll be honest with you, I have more fun with the little stuff. Don, if I could, I would, but it's downstairs drawing right now. And when I say drawing, I mean I've got the legs finally glued to the hinges to the carbon fiber tubes that makes up the little, it's hard to explain. I'll send you a picture later. Exactly, MH. It is cheaper, nostalgic, and I mean, you can just do things like this on camera and have fun. It would be hard to do this with a high power. But my goodness, the cost of one motor, high power, like, for example, I haven't shown this in a while, guys. This is the motor that I used in my Zephyr for my L1. Okay. We've got some time to kill while the glue's drying, so this is a good opportunity to show you guys. So this is a C motor, right? Everyone knows what a C looks like. It's the same size as an A and a B. Exactly, Donald, it is. There I go saying Donald again. I meant Don. So when I flew my Zephyr for my L1 flight, I used an H219. And this is it. That's the spent motor. And I think I paid $39, so $40 basically for this, for one flight. It worked fantastic. I mean, it was a rush and a thrill, but you know what? I get the same rush and the same thrill from flying this little guy. You know what I mean? I'm sure you guys can appreciate that. This has a cool effect to it, but at some point when your wallet is screaming at you, no more, no more. How cool is that? It's not. I got the Zephyr up to 1200. 1280, I think, almost 1300. I wasn't going for altitude. I was just going to get my L1. I did not have a chute release in it, so the main chute came out at apogee, and it was a windy day. And even as low as it went, 1,300 feet, it still drifted forever. So had I gone higher, I'd probably still be hiking for it, and that was over a year ago. But again, I wanted to have a nice, safe flight, and the thing is, it landed on the dry lake bed where I was flying it, and if you guys ever built the Zephyr, it comes with a 36-inch chute, and you know me, if you've seen all my rocket videos, I always love to cram bigger parachutes into rockets as much I can, because I want soft landings, because I fly on rock, so I can't afford hard landings. So I'm always trying to put larger chutes in. So I upped the 36-inch chute to a 48-inch on the Zephyr for its first flight. And it worked great. I mean, it came down super slow and nice touchdown. The only problem is, because it was so windy, that chute just inflated and it drug the rocket a half mile across the lake bed it actually drug it off the bed, off into the brush, where it finally got stuck and stopped. And it tore my fins up. Something awful. So it was like sandpaper, just sanded them down. So, again, HPR is fun. It's cool. But you got to drive a lot further out to where they launch them. You got to wait your turn. I think I waited all day to get that one flight. I only flew one flight. And, well, with that one, I should say. I took my Patriot and I flew it on a C motor just for fun. But the low power stuff, man, you just go down the street, find an open park where I go, and just launch to your heart's content. So, yeah, I don't know what else I can do while we got the glue drying. Let me see, is my epoxy... Yeah, epoxy's pretty much done. Well, it's not hard, but it's curing pretty well. All right, so now this is going to go in my bag of miscellaneous stuff, because you can always use extra parts. Do they have a lot of HPR down there? I haven't even actually looked to see if there's much activity. I guess we could do our own. Chris, are you still hanging out in there? Or my buddy Chris came in and... Oh, I didn't even see him put... Yeah, circa 1989. It was the late 80s when we were doing that stuff. So... Let's see what this is going to look like. Let me see if I can... There we go. So there's the Yankee with the payload bay. And again, it's universal, so I'll be able to use this on my Viking, on my Wizard, on my... I could even put it on my indicator, although I don't think the indicator needs it, because it's already, 2 feet long to begin with. My little Zephyr Junior, I probably could use it on that. My Bandits as well. Okay, according... the Yankee Doodle. According to OR, the new Yankee is stable, but the apogee on a C65 is reduced by... Add it to your Wizard? Yeah, I mean, it's a BT50 or BT20, right? So it'll attach to any BT20 tube, which the Wizard is, as is the Viking and some of my other scratch builds. So what's it showing for an apogee though, JC? It's reduced by 150, but what does it top out at? Yeah, separate payloads for the other sizes. Yeah. In my spare time, I may want to just go ahead and build some up. Because, you know, you guys all know I build my nose cones cut open for my flight sketch. Oh, really? It was only going to hit 16.9? Or 1669? On a D, you're running it. Oh, wait, whoa. Remember, I'm going to be flying on a D16. I forgot to tell you that, Joe. Let me see. Yeah. I've already got my motor ready. So if a C is getting over 1,600 feet, this definitely should hit 2,000 feet, right? I mean, I can't... Common sense says yes. Twice the power, you're going to get more than 2,000 feet. So again, I got this motor primed and ready. There we go. And MH, I'm not sure if you've seen my previous videos, but I did fly this to what I think was over 2,000 feet once before, but the altimeter failed on launch, so I got no altitude readings. I flew it on a D20. And what I'm thinking is, I'm sure you know these Quest motors, they'll get that little chug effect on the launch pad. And it's not larger, Don. It's actually, I've weighed it, it's the same weight as a C. They weigh the same. Believe it or not, I already tried that. I weighed them. I don't remember how many grams they were, but they were equal. So there's no weight increase. And again, I flew the Wizard on a D20. And because it's 8, I don't know what AP stands for. If you watch the launch in slow motion, the rocket went and I'm thinking one of those, stutters triggered the altimeter, and then it stopped, and then it triggered it to stop. So it never read apogee. I had an onboard camera. I got some beautiful views of the valley, but I had no proof that I hit 2,000 feet. But because I've gotten over 1,000 feet with C motors, I'm pretty confident that I busted the 2,000 foot barrier with the D. So instead of a D20, I dropped down to a D16 because I want a little less thrust on liftoff because I don't want to mess up the altimeter. But now I'm running a different altimeter, which actually weighs for me. Joe, I was afraid you were going to say that. After I ordered them, I'm like, maybe I should have got the 6 second. But when I flew before on the D20, it was also a 4. It was the D20-4. And it worked. So I was hoping that do you think I should wait and order a D20 or D16-6? What does a 6 second delay say? And why is it coming up short of 2,000 feet? That's interesting. I'll give Joe a second to run the numbers. I mean, I'm in no rush. There's no deadline for this. Yeah, that's true. All very valid points. Yep. Those are absolutely correct. 3 things I'm adding: the extra payload bay, the baffle, and the heavier altimeter. But if you hit 2,000 with a C and a stock Yankee, a D should get you close. Yeah. But the thing is, the one thing I have to do, though, MH, is I've got to run the payload bay, because I'm not going to try to jam this altimeter down the tube with the parachute. I'm just not going to risk that. So running this altimeter, I've got to use the bay. Now, if I was running my flight sketch, I would put it up in the nose cone like I do on all my other flights. But because I'm running the bigger one... Oh, 8 seconds. Okay. I didn't know they made D16 8s, but I can look. Okay, well, that's going to get me... Joe's... Okay, guys, I want to tell you something. Wherever Joe's sitting behind his computer, he's got a big grin on his face, because even at 2180, that's coming up short of his 2217. So Joe's loving it. Joe's like, oh, yeah, I'll help you all I can, because I know the best you can do ain't good enough. That's funny. Oh, some spirited competition. Good stuff. Yeah. Oh, Joe's gonna figure out a way to get me to 2216. He's gonna be like, I'm gonna maximize your flight all the way up to 2216, but that's gonna be 1 foot short. Oh, goodness. MH, do you have a channel? Do you upload videos? I'm curious. I definitely want to check out your channel, regardless. But I'll be excited to hear you got stuff to view and watch. I'll definitely subscribe and follow you. Oh, you don't? Okay, well, maybe this will inspire you, because Don is again, don't look up his channel by his name. Go to Retro Rockets. He builds vintage rockets, which you would appreciate. He builds clones. He takes new kits and kind of retros them to look like the old style, like he did with the Alpha 3. Very detailed tutorial. Awesome material in there. Good source of information. And JC does similar. He's into the smaller, I don't know, as vintage as Don is, but JC uploads flight videos, and JC does some cool competition videos. So they're all fun and unique in their own way. And me, I just launch anything and everything I can, and I film it all, and I have fun with that. So, hey, Don Blomdahl, greetings. The other Donald. According to my channel, Donald Blomdahl was first, so you can be D1, and then Don Brent can be D2. So we got D1 and D2 in the house. So awesome, thanks for jumping in. And I'm not sure if Faith is still listening in the background or watching, but we have an aspiring Rocketeer amongst us, and I'm trying to get Faith into the hobby. He's got an Alpha 3 kit that he's got to get built, and once he does, we're going to share some flight stories. Hint, when you watch your onboard videos that show the telemetry data, those are great videos, by the way, thank you, watch the altimeter readings when the parachute ejects. I've noticed that in some of your launches, your altimeter readings will still be increasing quickly when the parachute deploys. So in those situations, your ejection delay is too likely. Okay, yes, you're still here. Good to see you, Faith. I was wondering, maybe you passed out from all that tortellini that you ate for dinner. MH, you are partially correct, but I will add to this. The nose cone is ejected forward, correct? And that's where I store my altimeters. So at ejection, the nose cone is thrust at least a couple feet. I mean, I know that's inconsequential, but how do I explain it? When I upload my flight sketch data into the computer, and then you can go to their website. I don't know if you've ever seen them. If you guys ever go to flightsketch.com and go to flight log, you can see anyone and everyone's flights that are uploaded, including mine. And if you look at the graph, you'll see it going up and up and up and up and up, and then down, and then a little spike. Again, it'll go up and up and up, drop, and then spike up a little bit. And that spike up is the ejection, because it's launching the altimeter again further up again, if that makes sense. Well, I'm trying to get Aaron hooked, but he hasn't. They're not hooked yet, Don. Not quite yet. Oh, getting the kids settled into bed, that's like herding up cats. I know that frustration. Just kidding. Keep him busy and interested. He always, yeah. Faith is never bored. FFS is always a busy guy. But yeah, if you're talking a significant, like 10 plus feet increase, then you're right. I'm ejecting too early. The nice thing about it too, though, is you're able to see the horizon. You know, as the rocket, I'll use this as my rocket. As the rocket goes up and hits apogee, and it's got the onboard camera, ideally right there, obviously, right, is where you want it to go, boom. And the camera facing straight out will pick up the horizon. So if the rocket's horizontal, you know you nailed it. But if it's still showing the ground, then you probably need a longer delay. So, but thanks for bringing that up. That is actually well worth considering and looking into. So Aaron, have I scared you away from this hobby, or did I excite you more with all this technical jargon and mumbo jumbo? I know I'm throwing a lot of stuff out, and of course the guys that are chatting, you know, MH, Don, and Joe, they are much more experienced at this than I am. So I was really happy to see all of you guys in here commenting and giving me ideas. Just said, well, okay. I hope I feel bad that I scared her, but remember, what I did tonight is nowhere near what you're going to be doing with the Alpha 3. And Don was somewhat right the other night when he said that Alpha 3 can almost build itself. So don't let tonight intimidate you. That's some pretty advanced stuff there. So, do I want to put the decals on? I don't yet. I'm going to hold off on the decals just because I don't want to work that joint too much. I'm sure it's set by now, but well, you never know, Aaron. You never know. Sadly, it appears that no combination of parameters gets you your Yankee over 2217. I'm going to go out on the driest day of the year where there's no humidity, no wind, and absolutely perfect conditions. That's my only chance. And I'm going to launch it from the top of my van. That'll give me another 10 feet there, right? Oh, goodness. Oh. Hey, you know what I'm going to do, guys? Just for fun, and I'm going to totally change the subject. I'm going to open up a package that I got from Ethan. And for those of you who have no interest in baseball cards, oh well. But I'm going to open up this pack of cards that I got because I've been itching to open them. So this is still a rocket video, but I'm going to open up some baseball cards just for fun. This is from a sale that Ethan had last week. And I think I got some nice stuff. Nice little catch there. So let's see what I got from Ethan. Busting packs and Kraken's whack. Well, and they're not packs. They're individual cards that I purchased. Oh, Kraken, I got you. Take me out to the ball game. There you go, Donald. Now I'm speaking his language. Check this out, guys. This is from a pristine pack of Topps. I know Don would appreciate this, being a Padres fan as well. But I got a nice Tony Gwynn Topps pristine card. This came out of a box of cards that I think cost close to $200. Got to launch these up in a rocket too. Yeah, if I could find a body tube wide enough, maybe my Zephyr could fly these up. But yeah, I knew you would, Don. I knew you would. Don, somewhere back in my old videos, like over a year ago, I've got a tribute video to Tony Gwynn you might get a kick out of. Very nice Randy Johnson. Look at that chrome card. I know Donald Blomdahl would like that, except he's in the wrong uniform. He likes the Mariners cards. Look at that nice Winfield, Dave Winfield. Topps Chrome. This is from last year, 2021. There's a Dalton Varsho. That kid is awesome. He's quickly becoming my new favorite player. Fun fact, his dad, Gary Varsho, played for several teams, including the Phillies, and when he was with Philadelphia, he became best friends with Darren Dalton. And he told Darren, when I have a son, I'm going to name him after you. And there's Dalton Varsho. Pretty cool. Look at that, Tony Gwynn. We'll let Ethan buy the boxes and we'll pick and choose. That's exactly what we do, Faith. You're right. Don't spoil our secret. I hope Ethan doesn't watch and hear what we're doing. But very nice. Look at that. Oh, guys, I got so focused on that. It's a relic. I forgot I got a relic card. Game-used memorabilia. Game-used jersey piece. Tony Gwynn on an 87 throwback design. That's from, is that 2022? Yeah, 2022, so that's a new card. Yep. Are you a baseball fan, MH? Check this out. Short print, Jake McCarthy. This kid, in fact, just recently, as of 2 days ago, David Peralta, our left fielder, who was our most tenured player, I think he was with us for nine years. Oh, you're a Braves fan. Okay. Oh, well, if you've been watching the games the last few days there, MH, I'm not too pleased with your Braves. You stomped all over us Diamondbacks. Tony Gwynn about 500 on. Really? Oh, man, that would be a nice little trick-or-treat gift there. Yeah, MH, I wasn't too thrilled with your Braves there. Check this out. Christian Walker, game-used piece, numbered out of 299. 148 out of 299 from Absolute. He's a great first baseman. I just don't know if he's Paul Goldschmidt, because Goldie's obviously a great first baseman, Gold Glove winner multiple times, but Goldie can hit. Christian can hit, just not at the caliber that Goldie could. So I think I'd rather have Goldie back, but I do like having Walker on our team. Yeah, it was a sweep. Kudos to you guys. Oh, okay. Now, when you buy from Ethan, he sends you free cards, by the way. And he'll also send you an autograph of himself on his new business card. That's awesome. So here, I'll set that in the back. I think this is what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to glue my rockets at the beginning of my videos, and then I'm going to open up cards while I let the glue dry. How's that sound? That's right, Chuck. There is only one Goldie. There's another Jake McCarthy. Very nice select rookie card. Yeah, I'm getting more and more impressed with this kid every game. Okay. Another nice Dalton Varsho. MH likes the idea. Maybe I'll do that. I'm serious. Maybe I will do that. Build and then open up cards. So obviously, MH, I am a huge Diamondbacks fan because I'm from Arizona originally. I grew up, before the Diamondbacks existed in the 80s and 90s, I was a Padres fan because they were closest to me. But once we got the Diamondbacks in 98, I became a D-backs fan. I still love the Padres. I just love the D-backs a little bit more. Now, Don, he lives down in Arizona, so he's naturally a D-backs fan, but he grew up in San Diego, so he's also a Padres fan. So he and I have that in common. Joe, I don't know who you root for if you root for anybody. That's right, Don, the best of both worlds. Show that Winfield. I will. I'll definitely go back to it. So there's Varsho. There's a Buskauskas. I think we traded him, actually. I'm not sure he's still with us. But that's a nice gold card. Gold foil, actually. Very cool. Very cool. Perdomo. This guy, I'm not sure about him yet. Okay, you're a Giants fan? Okay, so interesting story. I'll tell Joe my Giants story here in a minute. But Perdomo, outstanding shortstop. The guy can catch anything within grasp of him. But he's struggling at the plate, and lately he's been bunting a lot, and he's been getting on base. So he might just be our bunter. He's not much of a hitter. Although I say that, his first home run he hit the other day was a grand slam. So there you go. Gold. It's a gold card. It's a gold. Poor Ethan. It's gold with an L. Gold. But anyway, we say gold. So that's Perdomo. Nice. Carson Kelly from the Pristine. He's our #1 catcher. He was part of the trade when we got rid of Goldie. Goldie went to St. Louis, and we got Carson in return. Him and Luke Weaver were the two guys we got for Goldie. You've been okay. You've been to the Bob Bank One ballpark. I didn't know you've even been on there. We'll have to talk more about this. And last but not least, a Ketel Marte, or as Faith likes to say, Kettle Marty. This is my Kettle Marty card. Rainbow foil, I think is what they call that. Diamond Donruss. So very cool. So you've been to the Bob. There was a point in time when the D-backs started at the Bob, I didn't follow them like I do now. Of course, now it's Chase Field, sorry. But there's that Winfield. Now, see, I've never been to a hockey game. I would love to go to a hockey game. So you got me on that one there. But, so I'll hold this up for a second. Yes, Donald, Benny has gone to the dark side. Oh, I just saw Benny is with the New York Yankees. Benny Benintendi? Oh, I bet Ethan loves that. Yeah, Faith is talking about, we have a friend, Ethan, that sells cards on his channel, and that's where I got these cards. Ethan used to be a huge Andrew Benintendi fan when he was with the Red Sox, but he got traded, and now he's with the Yankees, and Ethan hates the Yankees. Get a nice Nate Colbert to go with it. I don't know if they have Nate Colbert in Chrome cards. I think Ethan cried. No doubt. Okay. So that was before we hooked up, Joe. Too bad we didn't. Because obviously in January we could have done a lot more flying and less heat. Obviously, it would have been more comfortable. But I've never even been to a Golden Knights game. Isn't that sad? I live here and I don't even go. So, well, there we have it. Rockets and cards all in one stream. That was an absolute blast. You guys are awesome. Again, MH, I'm not sure how you stumbled upon my channel, but I'm very, very grateful that you did. I think you gave me some awesome pointers and tips, and I'm glad I followed them. And I think the flight will prove that your ideas worked. And I was going to tell you, Joe, I'm sorry about the Giants. So Matt Williams used to be your third baseman back at Candlestick. And actually, even go further back, Bob Brenly used to be your catcher, who, of course, now Bob Brenly is the announcer for the Diamondbacks games. Obviously, he was the coach of our 2001 World Series team. So he's got accolades for that. But he is now an announcer. So every night when we watch the D-backs play, I get to listen to Bob Brenly, former Giants catcher. But Matt Williams, when he was traded to the brand new Diamondbacks back in the late 90s, I was working at the airport down in Yuma, and they would come out to Yuma for spring training. Now they go to Phoenix, but they flew. I think the Diamondbacks came down on a bus, but Matt Williams, Devon White, and Jay Bell were flown down on a corporate jet because, well, they're good, right? So I was not following baseball at the time, so I didn't know who those guys were. So they get off the plane with their manager guy, trainer, escort, agent, whatever you want to call him. And he asked my boss, can we get a ride to the ball field? And I was the kid working there. I was just, the lineman. And my boss told me, go get the courtesy car and drive him to the field. I'm like, okay. So we jumped in this van, and I drove Matt Williams, Devon White, and Jay Bell to the ball field. And the trainer, agent guy was sitting up front with me. And I made a stupid comment. I'm like, I'm trying to make small talk, right? So I look over at him, and I'm like, so these guys must be pretty good if, they get to fly on a corporate jet. And I could hear Matt Williams chuckling behind me, and the trainer looked over at me, and he goes, yeah, they're pretty good. And I got back to the airport after dropping him off, and everyone was like, "Oh, Kevin, you're so lucky you got to drive Matt Williams to the ball field and Jay Bell and Devon White." I'm like, who? I had no clue. Not a clue in the world. So now, of course, hindsight being 2020, I'd love to go back and just talk to the guys. And of course, now it's interesting. Matt Williams, he had a stint coaching in D.C., interestingly enough, the same time I was working back east. But now he's actually the third base coach for the Padres. So I can root for Matt Williams again because he's with the Padres. Again, full circle. Who's the Padres manager? Bob Melvin. Bob Melvin used to coach the Diamondbacks. Interesting fact, Bob Melvin used to be a catcher for the Giants. So Bob Melvin, Bob Brenly, both coached the D-backs and were catchers for the Giants, right? Now get this. What famous catcher just retired from baseball last season? Catcher for the Giants, Buster Posey. You got Bob, and Buster, B, and B. My prediction is within 5 years, Buster Posey will be coaching the Diamondbacks. Just throwing that out there. It's a long shot, but Buster Posey, I predict, will be coaching the Diamondbacks within 5 years because that's the way the trend has always gone. So there you go. I found it. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back to MH. I found it looking for videos about the Wizard and Yankee. I'm working on a modified Yankee right now. Well, I got a modified Yankee too, MH. Yeah, Aaron, somebody write this prediction down. I think I've said it before on some previous streams, but I don't think I spelled it out that elaborately before. But I just love watching things come full circle. And I love how fate and divine intervention have their hand in life. And, we're just pawns on a chessboard, and we believe in our Father upstairs that He will move us on the chessboard accordingly and as He sees fit for us, as best as we can live up to what He expects of us. So there, I got a little preaching in too. So guys, we are coming up on an hour and 30 mark, and I have had an absolute blast. I'm going to set this on the shelf and admire it all night. I want to thank you guys again, and for those of you guys, apparently you probably already are subscribed because you found my stream, but if not, please subscribe because I am going to be doing more of this. I'm going to call this a success. I would love for everyone in here to come back when I do it again because I appreciate all your all's feedback. So, good times, good fun. Love y'all, love every one of you, and I appreciate your input. Awesome stuff. So with that, guys, have a great night. God bless, and go fly something. Talk to you later.